What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. I'm sorry, I just had to get that one out because the Red Sox just got swept by the now historically undefeated Tampa Bay Rays in what may quite possibly be the worst ballpark in America. And it wasn't just that the Red Sox lost this series, it's that the Red Sox got swept in this series in a brutal fashion. Every game seemed harder to watch than the last, and there aren't a ton of positives to pull out of this series. But the good news with this series is that the Red Sox are finally out of Tropicana Field, and it's still extremely early in the season to really be panicking about anything. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break down the latest Red Sox series, what went wrong. We're going to try and pull out some positives if we can, and we're going to talk about how the Red Sox can right this ship early on in the 2023 season. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. As we normally do, let's start with the offense and talk about their performance in this series, because in game one, there was not a single bit of offense to talk about. In game two, there was a little bit of offense to talk about. Rafael Devers scored on a double play by Masataka Yoshida, and Reese McGuire hit an RBI single. One of the good things we could take out of this series is how hot Reese McGuire is at the plate. He is currently hitting .474 with a staggering 1.132 OPS, and that gives him a 203 OPS plus in 19 at-bats. We talked a lot about Reese McGuire possibly regressing a pretty decent amount offensively during the 2023 season, and yes, it's a small sample size, but so far we have not seen that yet, and that's a good sign, right? Outside of that, there was no other offense to speak of in game two. In game three, there was actually a pretty decent amount of offense. One of the big things is that Justin Turner started to come alive a little bit at the plate. He went 4 for 7 in his last 2 games in this series. He had an RBI in the third game of this series, as well as an RBI in the last game of this series. Hopefully he's found his swing coming back to Fenway, because the Red Sox could really use Justin Turner's production at the plate. The big hit in this series did come from Rafael Devers, who ended up with a 3-run home run in the last couple innings of the game 3. And Rafael Devers did strike out an abnormally large amount of times in this Rays series, but I'm not worried about Rafael Devers because he's Rafael Devers, right? He can have a bad series once in a while. He still managed to put one out of the yard and still managed to poke a hit or two throughout the series as well, so not something to be overly concerned with. Kike also had a strong game in game 3. He went 2 for 4 with a double as well. Again, another guy who desperately needs to start getting it going at the plate. And finally, in the last game of the series, there really wasn't a ton to talk about. Rob Refsnyder went deep in the first inning of this game. Dude absolutely mashes lefties and continues to mash lefties, which is a good sign for us with Adam Duvall being out for a while. Casas had the longest at-bat on the road for the Red Sox since Alex Cora did it in 2006 with a 14-pitch at-bat in the finale. Plus, he was hitting the ball hard in this last game. Hopefully, this is signs of things to come for Tristan Casas, who again has gotten off to a slow start offensively for this Red Sox team. But Alex Cora always says a hitter's slump always ends with a walk. So hopefully, we see more production from Tristan Casas going forward within the next couple of series. Outside of that, there really wasn't a ton to talk about. Christian Arroyo got a bloop hit that ended up being a double, and Justin Turner was able to drive him in, and we got a couple of RBIs in that game as well, but again, nothing super crazy. My biggest problem with the Red Sox offense right now is something we've been talking about all year, and that is consistency, right? Consistency at the plate has been a problem for this Red Sox team. Now, part of this is definitely because of the pitching factory that Tampa has created. They faced a ton of really great pitchers who are extremely hot on the mound right now, and that definitely had something to do with it. You also can factor in the fact that they lost Adam Duvall before this series. Rafael Devers took a game off in this series, and Masataka Yoshida was going to be out for this series as well. He only played 2 games too, so you did lose some big pieces offensively, which could have some indication as to why the Red Sox did not do great offensively in this series. But at the same time too, you were watching at-bats in this latest Red Sox series that were extremely quick, right? We got used to in the first couple of series of this season, even when the Red Sox were losing, having good ABs where they were longer, they were taking their time, they were really working pitchers. In this series, it didn't feel like that. There were a lot of 3-pitch outs. There were a lot of 4-pitch outs. There were a lot of 1-2 pitch outs as well. That is something the Red Sox need to come together as a team and get back to that spot where they are making good ABs. And again, they're going back to playing station to station baseball, which so far this season is when we saw this Red Sox team at its best. Now let's talk about the pitching as well. Really, the only good start to come out of this series came from Nick Pivetta, who had a really good start in game 1. He ended up going 5 innings, allowing just 3 hits, no earned runs, and 2 walks as he struck out 6. This was another really great outing from Nick Pivetta. Now, there is some concern over his hard hit data, but at the same time too, he's managing to get outs and more importantly, keeping this team in games. If Nick Pivetta can continue to pitch like this, there may be a spot for him in this rotation, especially after Alex Cora did not confirm that James Paxton was going to be starting the year in the rotation. I think Nick Pivetta is making it a really difficult decision on this Red Sox team. Garrett Whitlock got his first start of the year, and it definitely did not go as he had planned. He ended up going just 5 innings, allowing 8 hits, no walks, 5 Ks, and 5 earned runs. He actually looked really good until the 5th inning, which was probably something to do with this being his first start of the year and him just simply running out of gas. This is one where I saw a lot of people immediately saying, look, Garrett Whitlock's bad, put him back in the bullpen. It's been one start, right? One fully healthy start from Garrett Whitlock. Give him some time to settle back into this rotation. Chris Sale did not have a good start yet again. Chris Sale ended up making it only 4 innings. He allowed 5 runs on 7 hits, walked 2 guys, and struck out 6. And I gotta be totally honest with you, I am starting to get a little worried about Chris Sale this year. And I'm not at the point yet where I'm panicking, where I'm at the point where I'm proclamating that Chris Sale is washed or he is done, right? It has been 3 total starts. Give him at least 5, 6, 7, 8 to really kind of see what Chris Sale can be. But there are definitely some concerns. When he's throwing at his maximum velocity, he doesn't have a ton of control right now. It's Chris Sale. He's a veteran. He's one of the greatest pitchers of our generation when healthy. Give him some time to settle down as well, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on. Corey Kluber had an okay start. Corey Kluber ended up going 4 2/3 innings with 4 earned runs on 4 hits. He did strike out 7 though and only walked 1, and his stuff looked really good. I honestly think if this wasn't against the red hot Tampa Bay Rays, he would have done a lot better in terms of stat line. He looked overall pretty good in this series. It's kind of what we expected Corey Kluber to look like throughout the 2023 season. Again, I think he just ran into a red hot Rays team. The bullpen got touched up a little bit in this series. Richard Blyer gave up 4 earned runs in the last game of the series. Zach Kelly, who we are going to be making a video on later today when the test results come back, got injured in this series, which personally, I just feel absolutely terrible for Zach Kelly, and I really hope it isn't anything super serious. Again, that'll be in a separate video, but he got touched up for a couple of runs. Chris Martin got touched up for a couple of runs. It all in all, in terms of pitching in this series, the Rays got to the pitching. In terms of home runs, bunts, bloop singles, they were doing everything against this pitching staff, and it was just honestly kind of impressive to watch. The Rays were beating you every possible way, and I don't know how much of that is on the pitching and how much of that is just on the Rays being simply the best team in baseball right now. Either way, the pitching staff didn't look fantastic. All in all, like I said, this was a brutal series to watch. The offense was inconsistent. The starting pitching, aside from Nick Pivetta, was giving up runs early. The bullpen was giving up runs. Defensively, it was kind of tiring to watch. There were miscues on the field that was leading to runs, right? This was all in all a deflating series for this Red Sox team. But let me go on a rant here. I'm going to go into rant mode because I've seen a lot of people on this channel, on Twitter, everywhere start to panic and give up on this team already and say that this team is cooked, this team is done, and that's simply just not the case. And let me tell you why. It is not even a month into baseball. We have not watched more than 30 games. The Red Sox have not played more than 30 games. You look at this pitching rotation, you're like, man, what is going on here? They only have 3 starts each right now. On top of that, too, you have reinforcements coming within the next couple of days. Brian Bayo is supposed to be back within the next 4 or 5 days. James Paxton is not far behind him, right? There is a glimmer of hope with this rotation. Offensively, you're probably not going to see another series throughout the year, hopefully fingers crossed, where there's no Masataka Yoshida, no Rafael Devers, right? And on top of that too, offensively, guys are not going to stay this cold the entire year. You're not going to see Kiki Hernandez hit under 100 the entire year. You're not going to see Justin Turner hit in the low 200s all year, right? These guys are going to figure it out at the plate. They're veterans and they are guys who can adapt at the major league level. I'm not worried about this Red Sox team yet, and I really don't think you should be either. Yes, this was a really brutal series to watch, and it honestly was unwatchable baseball, but it's one series in the beginning of April. There's still a ton of games left, and we need to see how it plays out before we start declaring this season over. bad series. Let's get back to Fenway. Let's fix these issues, and let's see if we can pick things up and right this ship quickly. Let me know in the comment section down below. What did you think of this brutal series? What did you think of the offense? What did you think of the defense? What did you think of the pitching? What did you think about everything? Are you completely on the opposite side of me, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys are, where you're already panicking about this Red Sox team? Let me know why. Let me know all your thoughts on the current state of the Boston Red Sox in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.